When we talk about clean energy, we must first define what can be considered clean. As this is a course about climate change, clean energy should be the one that does not produce CO2 or other greenhouse gases. With this definition, nuclear energy could be considered clean energy, albeit producing radioactive waste that shall be stored in a safe place for many years due to the risk of contamination. More common is considering clean energy the one that, besides not generating greenhouse gases, does not produce contaminants or pollution. Within the boundaries of this definition, the hydroelectric energy could be considered clean, even if there are environmental impacts from the dam's construction to deviate rivers to accumulate water in reservoirs, which will later move the turbines that generate electricity. Through these examples, one can conclude that, at first sight, a straightforward definition of clean energy can accommodate different interpretations. And there are energy types that are cleaner than others. Among these energy types considered cleaner are the solar and aeolic energy. But one must remember that they may have other impacts, even not producing greenhouse gases. Solar energy generation, for example, occupies space and in large scale could occupy land that could be used instead for agriculture. Aeolic energy generation is sometimes accused of causing visual pollution as its helices on top of high poles can be very visible in the middle of landscapes. Despite these secondary effects, solar and aeolic energy are considered the cleanest ones, and the path to follow in order to reduce CO2 and other greenhouse gases emissions. There is not much controversy about the great villains of clean energy. Coal and oil-fired power plants are the ones that generate more CO2 and, consequently, have a highly negative impact on climate change and pollution. Natural gas burning, although not being a clean energy form, is less damaging than coal and oil, being an intermediate mechanism for reducing greenhouse gases emissions during energy generation. There are other means for energy generation, such as biomass, burning organic material like firewood, sugarcane, corn, or waste, that present some advantages when compared to fossil fuels, but it's not as clean as nuclear, hydroelectric, solar, or aeolic energy. Although the energy generated by biomass could be considered as zero CO2 balance emissions, as the organic material from which it comes absorbed CO2 during its existence, it can have negative environmental effects, for example, due to the use of farmland to produce ethanol instead of food. In order to avoid worsening climate change and reducing greenhouse gases emissions, it's fundamental to use more and more cleaner and renewable kinds of energy, using less energy that comes from fossil fuels burning. In our next video, we'll talk about climate change and market failure. Until then,